What's happening, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of High Altitude Motorsports. Today we got our good customer, Mr. Robert Kraft, in with his work truck dually. Check this thing out, it's pretty bad. We got the bed cover, well, it's like a bed box. We got the ladder racks, and we just took the wheels and tires off, and we are actually going to be doing an 8-inch full throttle lift kit with traction bars, the whole nine. We got forged wheels, new tires, pretty much the whole works. This truck is already leveled, so we got the leveling kit, we got the shocks, and we have the PMF DragLink PMF track bar. Actually, looks like a BDS or a BD, and then, you know, just kind of a mix and match of some parts. So we'll go through pretty much all that's going to be the same no matter what year, make, model, aftermarket, not aftermarket, doesn't really matter. But basically go through this entire truck and get the lift kit installed and kind of show you guys what we're doing. This kit replaces the leaf springs and then puts in blocks, so you will lose your overload springs. This has helper bags. We're going to try to reuse these with a spacer, so we'll see how that goes and go from there. So the first thing we are going to start working on is getting the brake line and ABS lines freed up. We're just going to take this bolt out that holds the brake line bracket off, take this 13 off up here. We already have a brake bracket on here, and just get this all freed up. Since this truck does have this kit on it, we're gonna have to start removing all this. So we got the sway bar drop that's different, the brake line extensions that are different. We got the bump stop drops as well. Just kind of all this stuff. Like I already said before, sway bar bracket. We gotta get the track bar drop bracket out. We gotta get the pitman arm, drag link to pitman arm off. We gotta get the pitman arm itself off. And once we've done that, we'll take the full drive shaft out because we're replacing that. And then we'll lower it down on stands, take the springs out, take the radius arms out, take the shocks out, and kind of go from there. So that's kind of the start. And we'll just keep showing you guys as we keep moving forward on this. So check it out, we got the full steering out, pitman arm out. Basically that goes to the gearbox, track bar bracket completely out, both the steering linkage we just leave hanging. It's not going to hurt anything, and everything's kind of ready to droop now. Also got the front drive shaft out, as you can see, and then some of the aftermarket parts that came with this leveling kit from before. So now that we've gotten all that out, now we're going to get our jack stands put under the axle. We're going to get the radius arms out, the shocks out, the coils out, and then start installing our lift kit parts. Alright guys, so as you saw, we pretty much have the axle completely stripped of everything. Coils are out, shocks are out, radius arms are out. We raised the truck up. We still have plenty of slack on our brake lines, ABS lines, vacuum lines. Technically, you guys should probably be doing this side by side. If you have a lift and you know all the tools to do it properly, this is a little bit easier because then I can work left and right at the same time. Makes it a little more efficiently, move a little faster. Now we can start installing parts. We'll probably start with getting our pitman arm, track bar in, sway bar drop brackets in, building whatever we have to build as far as radius arms go, figuring out brake line brackets, whatever. Pretty simple because it's a radius arm kit with coils, shocks, and that's about it. So there's not a whole lot to do as far as that goes. So yeah, we'll basically just start bolting on parts. Alright guys, so as you saw, we got a couple front components put in. Now we're going to start working on the radius arms. It has this factory bushing, so we're going to go over to the press these out. Really simple. If you have a press, we'll get these out, these in. And once we get those in, then we can start assembling the front suspension. So we hung the radius arms originally to the frame, and then we decided we're going to switch it up. But we got the factory bushings pressed in, and we got them just bolted into the radius arms. We got the cam bolt down at the bottom. So when we're powder coating these axles, we have a tool that we used to press the factory radius arms out, the bushings that are on the axle side. So essentially Harbor Freight press, nothing crazy. We got our microfibers protecting our powder, and so we have this cup we set down there, put the radius arm on top, and then we have this piece, and that sat down, pressed it in, went really smoothly. This kit, it doesn't come with a bump stop drop, so I put those back. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to get our shocks hung, and then just from the top, and then once we do that, then we can get our coils in, and then when our shocks are in, then we should be able to move the axle where we need to get the radius arm bolts in, front drive shaft goes in, steering goes in, sway bar goes in, brake line drop brackets goes in, and then that'll wrap up this front install. Alright guys, so the camera was unfortunately turned off, but we got the shocks and coils in. This stuff's really simple. So we had enough droop because we had both sides completely out. So I just got the shocks started up at the top, and then what we did is I had one person on each side, put the coils up into this lower pocket, and then we essentially just lowered the lift until the coils were seated up on the top perch. Once they were seated, we made sure we went far enough down to get the shock bolt through on the bottom side. Once those were done on both sides, then we threw in our radius arm bolts on each side. So now this pretty much has completed the front part of the lift. So now we can go through, we'll get all this stuff tightened and get the steering in, and that's pretty much about it for the front. We got the brake lines and stuff. So yeah, that's essentially it. So we'll start going through and get everything tightened. So check it out, we just got the front of the lift kit installation completed. We went through, and the only thing we need to do is do the steering stabilizers. We're gonna do that after the alignment because we gotta adjust the tie rod, possibly. So we'll leave that off. That's really simple to do on the alignment rack. But we got basically all the components in. We got them all torqued to specification. Make sure that you do torque this to 405 foot-pounds. That's your track bar bolt. Then we have an aftermarket drag link, so that gets torqued to a different spec. Sway bars in, sway bar end links are in, coil springs in, shocks in. We did the upgraded chrome ones, and then torqued this. We got the bolts all in. This one is not torqued at cam bolt, that's just tightened. That way we can, because we're gonna have to adjust it for a caster angle. Got the uppers torqued, got our drive shaft in and torqued. Drive shaft spins freely, everything looks good on that angle. Come around, same thing on this side. Everything's in, tightened, torqued, looking good. Only thing we need to do is I'll probably clean up the vacuum lines, and I got to get the diff vent hose installed. But other than that, the front is 100% complete, and now we're going to move on to the rear suspension. Alrighty guys, so as you see, we took the U-bolts out and the shocks. Actually, we got a situation on the shock on the passenger side, so that's just disconnected. I'll show you guys that in a second. But anyways, we're gonna take these leaf springs out. Front driver side leaf spring bolt out. You got to pull the fuel tank out. So for me, what I like to do is I'll just cut it, replace it, and then put it back the other way. I don't know if Ford didn't do this in the beginning. Essentially what we got is we got this little skid plate, heat shield kind of thing going on. We'll come in here, zip that off with the torch, pull the bolt out, and that'll be done. So that makes it really easy. We're gonna take the leaf springs off from the shackle side, and then we'll pull it out, and then we'll remove the shackle and then install it on the leaf spring, and then put the whole assembly back that way. So that's pretty much that. So we'll get the torch out and get that going. Sunglasses, these are pretty funky. Ready?
It was not hot potato, it's dead potato now. Okay, it's not even hot!
Alright guys, so I was talking earlier about the shock being a pain. So check this out. This is just some poor engineering from B&W. Essentially, we got the rear passenger side shock, and to get this out, we have to take out the B&W hitch. So we got to take all this out just to get this one shock out. B&W, if you're watching this, you guys should engineer something different, because this is stupid. So yeah, we'll do that. Probably throw the shocks in and you guys can watch that. We'll put it on film.
God bless him.